So you're not going to like this answer. It's not a good answer, but it is legitimately what I think is going on with the rivers. So I've heard of rivers doing this before. Now, maybe this is just a drought. Drought happens. But it seems like all of the world's major rivers are running dry. Where have I heard that before? That's what should disturb you. I've heard this before. And it was in all of the shit about studying what happened 11,600 years ago. It was all of that flood shit, all of that catastrophe shit. According to the Indian epics and shit, their version of the flood myth, which is I consider to be one of the most interesting, let's put it that way. It's old. It's real old and it's not changed much. And basically, according to them, the thing that caused the Great Flood was a war in heaven between gods. And before the flood happened, all of the rivers ran dry. And they said that the rivers ran dry because some like fire god took the rain god or some shit. That doesn't matter. What matters is, in amongst all those details, the rivers went dry. All of them. According to the Indians, what happened was all of the rivers dried up, some amount of time went by, and then a whole bunch of rain came and deluge and whatever, like massive flooding. I don't think this is going to be like people think of Noah and the Ark's flood. Oh, the whole world covered in water. And that's not what happened. Like, you need to realize when people back in Noah's age said that the whole world flooded, the whole world to that person was like the state of Oklahoma. Every place that they knew of was flooded. It's a big flood. So, what I really think is going on with the rivers drying up is basically there is a God and he is displeased with what's going on this planet to some level, and he's causing this to happen. Or we are in some sort of a giant cycle that causes this to happen. Either one of those, what you should realize is that the river's drying up is a sign that there's going to be some hellacious fucking weather. We're in for some crazy shit. I don't know what. Stuff that the planet hasn't seen in an age. That's what I think is really going on with the rivers. Now, is that going to cause our world to end? Probably not. But at the same time, it is disturbing to me that there are things that happened 11,600 years ago that preceded gigantic catastrophic things they're happening now. I don't know what's going on anymore, but there's something like I think the world's really ending. I don't know. I've always kind of been in the mode that like no matter what happens, we spin on. Even if the rapture happened and all that shit happened, I think the earth still remains. I think a lot of people wouldn't like that idea, but the whole idea of the rapture is God taking his faithful to heaven, which is some bullshit that doesn't exist. We could get into that. At least not to my belief it doesn't exist. And then when I say that, it's like, could an alien spaceship show up and say, "Hey, I'm Jesus, come get in"? Perhaps. Are we all going to magically float up to heaven in a giant ray of light to go live in the clouds? Nope. That's not going to happen. Pretty confident. I think there is some shit that is going to happen. And this is kind of back to the. I made a whole video on wisdom. Wisdom is the ability to sort that shit out. And like part of the thing that makes me wise is that I studied the fucking Bible as a kid. And I know that seems insane. It is, but like there are real life lessons to be learned in that bitch. We are just led by a cult of people that take all of the wrong lessons. Like the people have fallen to Morgoth worship, basically. Like the people have fallen to Satanism. Sin is in. You know. Anyway, I think it's disturbing that the rivers are drying up. The comforting part of this to me is that this has happened in recent memory too. The rivers going dry. Like if I remember correctly, this was a thing that happened in the Dust Bowl. But I think like the Bible, that whole four horsemen of the apocalypse thing, the Bible's written knowing that we live in a cycle. And cycles repeat themselves, and it's telling you what to look out for. And the message being conveyed by those books in the Bible that you like so much is that your empire is dying, basically. And you need to know that. Whether you believe all the God bullshit or not, no. But Revelation is about the death of the Roman Empire. It's a message in code about it, and you have to know how to read it. But the four horsemen of the apocalypse are famine, war, death, and pestilence, right? Pestilence showed up. And it's causing famine. That's what's going on right now. And the famine is going to cause war, and war causes death. That is the lesson being taught in Revelations. Good night and good luck.